Hi, I'm Julian Perrault, and I'm here to explain why I think that Johnson & Johnson will outperform the market using the S&P 500 as a benchmark, and assuming the S&P 500's nominal returns will remain consistent with its historic average of roughly 10% a year. First off, based on forecast CFROI levels, Johnson & Johnson is currently undervalued with a potential 33% upside. This was determined by taking the Holt warranted price of roughly $138 and comparing it with the current market price of roughly $104. Johnson & Johnson is currently in the mature phase of the fade life cycle, meaning CFROI levels should slowly decrease toward the company's cost of capital. Using a traditional comparables approach for valuation, Johnson & Johnson can still be seen to be undervalued. As shown here, consideration of price earnings, EV to EBIT, and EV to EBITDA multiples suggest a share price between $108 and $110, numbers substantially higher than Johnson & Johnson's current share price. Comparable companies are selected using the Holt Lens tool and selecting the 10 most similar pharmaceutical companies by market cap. Additional comparables were added due to the large range of segments in which Johnson & Johnson operates. Only 43% of revenues are earned through the pharmaceutical segment, while 57% are earned through the consumer and medical devices segments, and the comparable companies should reflect this. When looking at Johnson & Johnson's CFROI, margins, and asset turns relative to the selected comparables, it can be seen that Johnson & Johnson is consistently near the median of the group. It is difficult to make any serious implications from this comparison, however. Because the comparables tend to be more specialized than Johnson & Johnson, we would need information regarding the margins, turns, and CFROI for each of Johnson & Johnson's divisions in order to compare the efficiency to other companies. Although the current warranted price suggests a serious upside for Johnson & Johnson, it should be noted that historically, Holt methodology has had a deviation of roughly 30% with a bias of 42% in favor of Johnson & Johnson. This means that the warranted Holt price tends to be slightly higher than the actual market price, and the entirety of the potential upside discussed in my valuation may not be necessarily attained by the company. Although undervalued, Johnson & Johnson stock has had poor momentum in terms of recent price revisions, and could currently be considered a value trap. Despite the poor momentum, however, this sensitivity shows that in order for the market-implied CFROI levels to be accurate, Johnson & Johnson would have to consistently experience CFROI below his previous historical lows. This would mean a serious decrease in the company's sales, margins, or asset turnover, which is already near an all-time low. It is for this reason that I believe Johnson & Johnson will outperform the market. Thank you for your time.